I would say liberals don't like thunder.
Oh, come on. Oh, wait a minute. Let's generalize for a minute and then not generalize. Children are afraid of thunder. Are they crooked?
Absolutely not, but they fear the unknown.
They fear the unknown because they don't understand things.
That's right. They don't understand God, although they have an idea of what God is, because as detailed as we tell them, as if we know. But they fear the unknown, and so does man. Those that are not connected to God should fear thunder. They shouldn't enjoy thunder.
Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. I mean, you've heard that in the Bible.
That's the Talmud. That's in Psalms. Yes.
That's in the Song of Solomon?
No, that's in Psalms.
I'm sorry, in Psalms. I didn't hear you. Do you believe that there's a hereafter?
Absolutely.
What's there? What's in the hereafter?
Before we talk about the hereafter, the question you have to ask yourself, and everyone has to...
The main question I'm asking myself, is there a way to kill my headache after the show by having a beer? In other words, will a hair of the dog kill it? But go on.
The question is, if we come in this world to die...
Oh, don't say that. That's horrible.
Are we born? And if we're born, why do we die? In other words, the question is, what are we doing here, not what's in the hereafter. The hereafter is eternity. The question is, what are we doing here for the blink of an eye? And that's to perfect ourselves. At least this is what the great sages explain to us, to perfect ourselves and our surroundings, which you do every day, in order to achieve a level in that world that's representative of what we've accomplished here. So,
do you really believe that when we die, we're judged and we go to different levels of the next world?
Actually, 7 levels in heaven. That's what's written, yes.
There's 7 levels, according to Jewish Talmudic tradition, there are 7 levels of heaven?
Yes, and within each level there are multifaceted levels, yes.
Well, it's interesting that the Western or Christian view of heaven and hell was largely written by Dante's Inferno. That was the first. Have you ever seen Dante's Inferno in the written form?
No, I did not.
Well, how many rungs of hell are there in this? I think it's 7, aren't there, Beowulf? Do you know?
I think there are 5, and you don't want to even understand what the worst ones are.
Oh, please. No, I don't. I've been in heaven all my life compared to what's waiting for us. So what happens? What's the worst sin you can commit?
Man marrying man.
What's the next worst sin you could commit?
I have no idea.
Come on. Are you telling me that prohibition is the strongest in the whole Bible?
That is the worst sin in the Torah.
That's amazing.
Nothing upsets God more in the sense that it undoes his creation.
Wow. You're telling me that's worse than murder?
If it's on some level, it's the same thing. Because if you're destroying God's world, when you murder one person, you destroy the entire world.
That's really terrifying. I don't think people understand the depths of this particular statement that you just made. It's pretty amazing. What is the best thing a man can do to appeal to God?
I was waiting for you to ask me that. The other side of the spectrum is where man brings man closer to God. In other words, they're opposite sides of the spectrum. So that if someone like yourself or somebody, like there's a unique, it's what's called Kiruv movement, which is a returning or repentance movement among the Jewish people, and I think a lot of faiths, as other faiths as well, where hundreds of thousands in Israel of Jews and around the world are coming back to faith, where probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions of Christians are coming back to faith because we live in a time where that's necessary.
And I want to interject. I believe that the Muslims in some ways are to be thanked for this. It's a strange statement, isn't it?
You're right. I personally think...
Do you agree with me on that statement?
Yes, they are the vehicle.
I believe that and I don't mean the terrorists now, I mean that the fervent belief that many Muslims live every day of their life is actually stimulating Christians and Jews to go back to their own religion in a fervent manner.
I think the terrorists play a big role in that as well.
You do? You think that they're a part of God's plan, don't you?
Think about where did terrorism begin? Where did the first suicide terrorists happen?
Israel.
Israel. Bus after mall, after restaurant, after cafe. And then it quickly spread throughout the world. Now it's not even happening in Israel anymore. But the purpose is to awaken people, I think. And it started with the World Trade Center. But in Israel it started because that's where I believe all of this will unfold, ultimately.
So just before we leave, because I would love you to call the show again tomorrow. I'd love to have a further into this conversation. The best thing a man can do is bring a fellow man to God?
Yes.
And that would mean what? Just bring him to an understanding that there is a God, number one?
Well, you have to start somewhere. Someone that doesn't believe in God or is unaware of God, God does not want that person living in this life being unaware of him. Hence the thunder, hence all the signs that we see in our daily lives, if we pay attention to them, the events in the world that occur. All of this is to remind us that there's a God in the world.
Wow. Well, you're amazing, Dan. You're a biblical student?
I'm actually writing a book about the coming redemption.
Well, I'll tell you what. You've got a ready audience on the Savage Nation. I'll have you on immediately when it's ready.
Thank you.
Dan, do me a favor before we disconnect, because this is one of those once every year I get a call out of nowhere, and this is one of them. Give me your email address. We'll communicate. We'll correspond, okay?
My pleasure.
It is exactly 10 minutes to the hour. I'll be right back.
The fusion of entertainment and enlightenment. I'm Glenn Beck, weekdays, noon to 3 on Talk 910 KNEW.
Now we've gone from the sublime, speaking with a gentleman about God and God's plan, to now we're going to go to the unsublime. On the Drudge Report, there's a picture of President Obama looking at a young girl's behind at the G8 summit. He's caught, hounding her, in other words. She's walking by in a red dress, and she's a pretty girl with curly, looks like whatever. And Sarkozy's smirking like guys will do when a pretty girl goes by. And there's Obama checking her out. And Drudge writes, second stimulus. Well, my team just up the ante on Drudge, because they are posting right now on michaelsavage.com who the girl is. They found out who she is. Because you don't know who she is because you only see her behind here. They found out. Beowulf, who is it? Beowulf Rockland, come on the show, please. He's my producer, and he does the most important work. Who is the girl?
Well, according to the research that I've done, and there are other people saying that it's different things now, but according to the research that I've done, comparing the pictures, it looks like that it is a junior G8 delegate named Mayara Tavares, who lives in Rio. She's
Brazilian?
That's correct, yeah. As far as I've been able to do the research, and there are other people saying different things, it looks like it is her, and we will have that up on the website.
Oh, man, I'm going to see those pots flying tonight in the Obama household. Oh, yeah. Well, all right, at least he has good taste in women. I mean, he's finally done something I can agree with him. You know what I'm saying? Thank God. Thank God for small favors. There's two. You talk about positive and negative. Nancy Pelosi refused to acknowledge Michael Jackson for political reasons. She turned down Sheila Jackson Lee. That's one, thank God. And Obama is staring at a very pretty girl. That's a second, thank God. Okay, the world isn't so bad right now. The world starting to make sense to me again. Politics aside, it's been fun thus far on the Savage Nation. Thunder and lightning. There's another big hour here coming up on the Savage Nation. Be sure to stay tuned. And tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow, Savage.
Michael Savage.
Afternoons 3 to 7.
On Talk 910 KNEW.
And online at 910KNEW.com.
Well, here's some of the topics we touched on today on this program. Obama releases terrorists. I don't know if you know this, but he's released Iranian terrorists back to Iran. Maybe G.W. Bush didn't know how to run a war, but Chairman Obama is giving him a run for his money. And, of course, the news and the media responds, let them watch Jackson. Obama's poll numbers keep diving. I talked with Scott Rasmussen about how Obama's poll numbers are sinking, and Gallup has been reporting the same thing. So when is the media going to stop portraying Obama as a saint? The American public, no matter how distracted they are not going to be fooled forever. They are remembering the giveaways to Wall Street. They're remembering Obama giving away our nukes. They're remembering the dismantling of General Motors. They're remembering Obama destroying the banks. They're remembering the handouts to Goldman Sachs. Now they're going to remember Obama teaming with Chuck Schumer to give America away to the illegal aliens. You can fool all of the people some of the time, and some of the people all of the time. But, Mr. President, you cannot fool all the people all the time. Schumer and illegals. Senator Chuck Schumer wants amnesty for 30 million illegals, and he says there'll be a bill by Labor Day. The media has already destroyed our culture with Michael Jackson, and now it looks like Schumer's taking on the borders and the language.